Tired of dealing with annoying flies, fruit flies, and gnats in your home? The Zevo Flying Insect Trap is your ultimate solution. Don't wait. Check out the link in the video description now to get your Zevo Flying Insect Trap on Amazon and enjoy a bug-free home today.
Vladimir Putin's pal has warned of nuclear war as he deploys more troops along his border with Ukraine. Viktor Lukashenko, the dictator of Belarus, now has a third of his forces stationed along the heavily mined southern frontier. In a new interview, the tyrant has sent a clear threat to NATO as Ukraine continues to seize land in its surprise invasion of Kursk. The dictator said if the Western alliance sent troops to support Ukraine, it would begin WW3. The Belarusian state news agency quoted him as saying. He said, Ukraine will not be able to defeat Russia. Then who? The West. NATO. We must see this. If they send NATO troops to Ukraine, this will start WW3. Lukashenko threatened that Russia would respond to the move in the apocalyptic way. He said, both tactical and strategic nuclear weapons will be used, and the response will be instant and terrible. They, NATO, also understand this, and we understand it. Therefore, we need to sit down at the negotiating table. The rambling conspiratorial leader also bizarrely claimed NATO wanted to push Russia into using a nuke as it would totally isolate Putin. I know for a fact that in Ukraine they would be very happy if Russia used, or we would use, tactical nuclear weapons. Then we would probably have hardly any allies left. Lukashenko also said it was NATO's dream to attack Belarus from Poland as he claimed the alliance seeks to grow its borders. And in this case, it would be almost impossible to defend ourselves in such a situation. This would mean mobilization and a real war. Lukashenko now claims to have sent a third of his 60,000-strong armed forces to the border with Ukraine. But, the 69-year-old also claimed that Ukraine has now built up a force of 120,000 on the other side of the fence. Lukashenko said of the troop build-up in April, from Vitebsk we've transferred a couple of battalions and are, now, standing head-to-head with NATO. These battalions are at full operational readiness, with a readiness of 3 hours from leaving their place of deployment. 3 hours and we're there. In the new interview, Lukashenko also continued to wind down his support for Putin's illegal invasion of Ukraine. He has now contradicted Putin's claims about Nazis being in Ukraine, an important but bogus justification the Russian gave for the war. Lukashenko said, there are no Nazis there anymore. Ukraine has been denazified. But there are a few rabid Nazis who remain there, but they are no longer fashionable. Speaking to Russian state television a few days ago, Lukashenko also said it was America who wanted to keep the fighting going. He pleaded with Vlad, let's sit down at the negotiating table and end this brawl. The Americans have one policy, to pit Europe against Russia. Let them fight. And then they will sort things out in the East with the Chinese. Then both tactical and strategic nuclear weapons will be used, and the response will be instant and terrible. Part of Putin's 2022 invasion of Ukraine was launched from Belarus, with Lukashenko long regurgitating Moscow's anti-West war propaganda. He has previously called on Kyiv to surrender for a ceasefire, saying Russia would be forced to use the most terrible weapon if it felt threatened. High comments come as Putin appears to be scrambling to defend Ukraine's attack on Kursk. Putin is reportedly set to purge his top military command as his forces struggle to deal with the Ukrainian blitz. Kremlin army chiefs are said to be in the firing line for their failure to stave off Kyiv's rampaging forces in Kursk. Sources say Vlad is seething at Chief of the General Staff Valery Gerasimov, who was strangely missing from Moscow's Crunch Security Council meeting last Friday. Gerasimov, 68, has been accused of knowing that Ukraine's invasion of Kursk was imminent but decided not to tell Russian hierarchy. Ukraine invaded Russia on August 6 and has since captured dozens of towns and capturing 1,150 square kilometers of territory. Troops have reached 35 kilometers, 21 miles, inside Russia after the surprise breakthrough and continue to push forward. Putin has been humiliated by the invasion, which captured the same amount of land in 8 days as Russia had in 8 months. Colonel Hamish de Breton-Gordon told our channel the Russian despot needs to act very quickly to maintain his iron grip on power.